The questions that I was asking was, how satisfied are you? And do you feel like you're doing what you need to do in real estate right now to really make a really good living? Are you doing what you want to do? Is it giving you the freedom and the time and the energy and the money and all that you want? Are you getting it right now? Right. Anybody else? But here's the thing I want you to know, and I've said this a million times, I'm going to say it again. Real estate is an 89% failure rate. So let's find something to celebrate really quickly. And the reason why I want to do that is because the failure rate is within the first 2 years. Okay? Most people quit within the first 2 years, and what you haven't done is you haven't quit. Okay? So that is worth celebrating. That is worth celebrating. If you haven't made the money right now, then that's not really something that is too concerning because you're still here. And we know that it is an 89% failure rate, and that's a major problem for a whole lot of people, because a lot of times you'll have to work 2 jobs. A lot of times you'll have to depend on a spouse if you have one. Oftentimes your expenses are really high. And these are what I would consider pain points for real estate agents. Most real estate agents don't see success until they're 3, 4, 5 years in. And for me, for my journey, for my story, I started in 1994. I sold my first house in May of 1994, which is the month after I got licensed. But I had to keep that full-time job at Bank One Columbus for another 4 years. And that was if I wanted to quit that job, because that job provided me with a paycheck every 2 weeks for 86 and a half hours on the 15th and the 30th. And I had just gotten really accustomed to receiving those funds, right? And just taking care of my business. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to break this thing down. And it's the training and the coaching that I've been through in the last, 20 years. It all has coalesced to bring me to this very point right here. And the number one thing I want to do is have the most successful real estate groups, period, ever. I want y'all to become the most successful real estate group ever. The most successful real estate agent ever. I want you to get as successful as you desire to be. And it may sound pie in the sky, but I honestly believe that there's so much talent here, and that mostly it's undiscovered and it's unmined, and mostly we just haven't done the work. Because the difference between, and it's really critical that you understand this, the difference between success and failure is just really just a very little bit of difference. It's just a little bit of difference. The difference between starting and quitting in 2 years, y'all have all kind of got over that hump. And so the people that quit, you would tell them, if you just would have stayed, you'd have had a shot. If you just would have continued, you would have found your way. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna get started, and I'm gonna go through some of this, and we're gonna start very foundational. Y'all ready? Yep. All right. Look, do not go to sleep. Do not go to sleep, because everybody in here can be, because you're selling the biggest thing in the world, you can be a millionaire. It's not that difficult. Not in this business. Now, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you right now, and I'm not sure if you believe it. So right now, my very first job is to build some belief. So let's go through it. Let's just look at it. So the question that I ask you, are you struggling to make a sustainable income in real estate? That's the very first question that I ask. And what we know is that just like Realtor Jacqueline here, this is my girl, Realtor Jacqueline at ABC Realty, everybody usually has, a lot more bills and things that they have to pay on a consistent basis, and not enough money coming in and not enough consistency in their business to be able to make it work. So I know you know that, so we're going to skip right over that. And we're going to go to the next slide. I want to go over some definitions because I believe that the definitions are very important. First of all, here's the deal. The definition of business is serious activity, requiring time, effort, usually the avoidance of distractions, and the goal is to get to profit. That's the goal. And the reason why I start with these very basic definitions is because a lot of times we'll skip right over the very basic definition of business. We'll skip over it and try to get straight to what we think we know. Okay? But here's the thing I want you to know. The older I grow, the more I know that I don't know. Because see, everybody and every single person, and some of this is going to, if you did network marketing, it's going to sound redundant, but everybody's been programmed. I don't care who you are, you've been programmed. I've been programmed. Because you all went to the school of, U.S. Columbus Public or whatever school, Michigan, wherever you came from, you all went to Springfield, South High, you all went to a very specific United States educational system, which did not train you to be independent thinking. It trained you to be obedient to the system. It trains you to be a worker because y'all can all go out here and get a job and do that 40 hours with no problem. But this is different. This is different. When I first got into real estate, I had to figure out how to justify my mindset. I had to figure out because I was used to getting that check. So let's establish something. There are only two types of businesses. It doesn't matter what industry. There's only two types. There's a product business where you got some goods, and then there's the service business that doesn't have a product. Instead, it's got something that you need to do for somebody to give them good and valuable service. But here's what real estate is. See, in my mind, real estate is both a product and a service. And I really had to think about that because most people would put real estate in the service category because it's a lot of service. It's a whole lot of service. It's a whole lot of things you got to do before you even get to the point of dealing with the product. But it's both a product and a service, just like anything else. We got to build it on some very strong principles. It needs to have a significant foundation. And if you don't put that foundation in, you're just wobbling all over the place and kind of floating in the air, and things don't go the way you plan. They don't even go the way you hoped. A lot of times you'll have this expectation. You'll just be like, if we see some success, then often what we'll do is we'll project that into the future as though it's going to happen again. But the only way it happens again is through a very careful system.